Hello and welcome to the Beat LA podcast, the only podcast bringing you Bay Area sports from a Hollywood perspective, brought to you by two guys from San Francisco living in Hollywood just trying to win the group chat. We talk 49ers, Giants, Warriors, movies, TV, pop culture, and the occasional life lesson we learn the hard way. It's sports talk for creatives and creative talk for sports fans. My name is Matt Ferrucci, and I am joined, as always, by a man who has one drink and thinks he can do a better job than Buster Posey, Mr. Paul Rule. Paul, how you doing?
I'm great, Matt. That I don't need a drink for that.
You don't even need one drink.
No, I don't even need one drink, Matt.
Yeah, we love our Giants.
We do love our Giants.
We're just a little, it's a little tough right now.
I love the Giants as a whole, not necessarily some of the individual players.
Yeah. But by the way, can I just say right off the bat, It's been a while. You look, this is a very good look.
Thanks.
It's a really good look.
That.
This is the second pod, maybe the third pod in a row you've gone with the sport coat.
I did. But last time it was sport coat and a T-shirt. Today it's sport coat and a kind of a button-downy thing.
You know, I'm layering from the last pod.
You look great, Matt. You look good. And also, it's kind of cold in here, Tanner.
Which I like.
Yes. Yeah. It did. Who do we talk to about the air conditioning?
No, I like it.
Yeah.
It's like
Is this like David Letterman?
David Letterman's icebox, man.
Yeah.
We got Tanner Hall over there on the wheels of steel. Tanner, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm feeling all right.
You feeling all right? You're looking good.
Thank you very much.
I like that hat. Is that a new? The new outfit for the? For
He's
the
wearing
show?
a Giants hat.
Do you want it to be?
Do we want it to be? Yes.
Yeah. He's sucking up to us, Matt.
Hey, he should wear a Dodger hat and just troll us.
Yeah.
From like
Tanner just got engaged. Congratulations, Tanner.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on that.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm sure your marriage is super fun.
Do you think
there'll be no problems?
Do you think Tanner did that because of you kind of pushed him last pod? You're like, everyone needs one in
He
there.
sees how happy I am. Everyone wants the happy ending.
Dude, did you just say everyone sees how happy you are?
That's wild.
It's because underneath that veneer, it's just crumbling.
No,
it's just an
I'm
implosion.
a lucky man. I'm a lucky man.
Are you on GLP-1s right now?
No.
Because
That seems skinnier.
did you have a doctor? You go to a Beverly Hills doctor?
I did a cleanse.
The face, fucking, maybe it's not all bullshit.
I got some plastic surgery done to look even more like George Bush.
So wait, you did a cleanse. What was the cleanse real fast?
What do you mean, what is the cleanse?
Did you do like the
used
turmeric and the
soap.
cayenne?
Yeah, I drank soap
You
for
drank
like
soap?
a week.
What did you do? What kind of cleanse? What's it called?
It has like a proprietary blend of something. It's like mostly dandelion root. Apparently, you drink these 3 big mason jars 3 times a day, and then you eat a bunch of celery.
That sounds awful. Folks, I'm going to do some real quick housekeeping here.
Yeah.
You can watch or listen to the Beat LA podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Follow and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That's how we keep the lights on. Send the podcast to your friends in the group chat. It's the best thing in the world. Also, today, Paul, speaking of cleanse, today's episode is brought to you by Cortisol Cleanse, the first wellness drink specifically designed for people who are spiraling. One sip and it lowers your stress, raises your confidence, and convinces you everything is going to work out exactly how you imagined at 2:30 in the morning. Cortisol Cleanse. It's not therapy, but it's faster.
What the fuck?
Do you think that's a real sponsor? Or should be, Tanner?
I'm sold.
You're sold.
Got a cortisol hit. So that's not our sponsor.
That's not our sponsor. This show, as always, is brought to you by Pawn Shop Sports Bar, baby. No, not the kind of pawn shop you unload where you unload your ex's jewelry. This is a different kind of pawn shop with much better lighting. It's the sports bar that Los Angeles has been missing. Opening this summer at Melrose and Cahuenga. No bad seats, private suites that are like luxury boxes, bar food from an award-winning chef, James Beard award-winning chef Tony Messina. And here's the kicker, man. It's going to be opening soon. I can't wait. Pawn Shop Sports Bar. Let's fucking go, right?
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby. Paul, we got a great show. We want to get right to it.
We're doing something a little different. We're not doing a Giants, Niners,
no Barry
Warriors
roundup.
wrap around.
Not today.
We got a very special guest, and we had a really cool conversation. We want to get to it.
Yeah, today, folks, we've got a great show. Justin Gimelstob is joining us. Justin is a former pro tennis player winning 2 Grand Slams in mixed doubles. And now he's one of the most connected guys in tennis across a lot of things, athlete representation, developing projects with Andre Agassi. It's going to be a great interview.
Or Agassi.
Agassi.
Yeah.
We go there.
Yeah, we go there, and it's great, and we've kind of turned into a tennis podcast. We've had Brad Gilbert on, we had Ted Robinson talking about the greatest match ever played, and
We had Todd Traina on.
Todd Traina, who's making tennis movies and doing cool tennis. Was on the Hall of Fame board for a long time, Tennis Hall of Fame. So this is exciting, Matt. I've always wanted a tennis podcast. So
Hey, I'm telling you. I mean, Chris Collins, big number one fan, is not happy about how this pod has turned. But this is really cool. Justin saw a reel we did of talking about tennis movies with Todd Traina, and then from that,
reached out to us, and then I ran into him. We talk about the meet cute and in the conversation.
It's the so very Beat LA way to get a guest and to do this.
It's just a sign that Beat LA is now in the it's now in the ether.
The ether.
Yeah.
The ether. So folks, stick around. Justin Gimelstob right after this.
Justin, well, you said you wanted to make it entertaining last match of your career, and it certainly was that.
Well, playing well was my first priority. I just have a lot of respect for Andy to play my last match at the U.S. Open against such a great champion. I gave it my all, kind of like I did my whole career, but just not enough. But that's, I think, a lot to be proud of as well.
Absolutely.
Paul, our guest today, get ready for the intro. I'm famous for these things, is one of the most plugged-in guys in tennis. He's a former pro, won Grand Slams in 1998 at the Australian and French Open in mixed doubles with Venus Williams, and played on 2 Davis Cup teams. And now he's basically everywhere, broadcasting, working with players, developing projects with Andre Agassi. He's seen tennis from every angle. He's been inside the locker room, inside the media, and now on the IP side of tennis. He's a connector between eras and definitely not afraid to say what he thinks. The man, the myth, the legend, Justin Gimelstob. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Justin.
It's a very generous introduction. I mean, most of that is true. I mean, there is a delineation between truth and facts, but,
Sure.
and range of it, like Grand Slam champion, like the lowest level of Grand Slam
Doesn't
champion.
matter, man. We live in the gray, right?
Davis Cup, like how many captains did I actually contribute to or get fired? I mean, so there's, you can take it either way, but it's a very generous introduction. I appreciate it.
Pictures. We could pull up pictures, and it's the truth.
Yeah, it is. It's factual. Yes.
Neither Matt nor I is a Grand Slam champion. So
That's not true, unless that's Sega or
That's much
something.
more of a compliment to Venus Williams than me, but still, I digress.
Do you think if we had Venus on, we'd mention that about her, like the mixed doubles?
Third match point. And that is the charm. Venus Williams and Justin Gimelstob have repeated their Australian Open Mixed Doubles Championship. They're halfway to a mixed Grand Slam. 6-4, 6-4.
I don't think
so, no?
I don't think.
No.
I mean, you might. I don't even know if you count it in her Grand Slam collection, but or it'd be like maybe like a asterisk. But
Yeah. Well,
I'll take it.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on. It's funny how we all came together. We came on each other's radars because you saw a clip. We had producer Todd Traina on, and he was talking about why tennis hasn't worked. And then you jumped in.
Hasn't worked as on the big screen.
On the big screen.
Yeah.
And you
Appreciate that.
tagged Andre, and you said, hey, this is interesting. And then you two guys ran into each other at a pro shop?
It was It was the final weekend. I guess it was the Sunday of Indian Wells, and I'm walking on with my brother at La Quinta, and I run into Justin and Andre, and I try to leave people alone in general.
Yeah, you do.
But it was too crazy. He just commented on this reel,
it
and
was too serendipitous.
Yes.
Yeah, we were doing. I think Andre was doing. He was handing out the trophy for the championship, so we were actually hitting some balls that one. We just wanted to get a sweat, and I drag him to the tennis courts. The day before we played pickle.
Yeah.
They have a great sit up there at La Quinta, and then Sunday was our tennis day. But actually, I think, and who knows how, or someone does above my pay grade, how things get to your feet or whatever. But I went on my reels and I saw a clip of y'all's podcast about kind of speculating on why tennis didn't always translate in terms of in the entertainment world or TV or movies, features.
Yeah.
And I think I wrote back something a little bit more cheeky than that. I think I said something like, well, if there was only another project out there, like a really successful book,
Right.
called Open that people had been coveting for if there was only that, like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit like that Entourage scene where he's like, is this something you might be interested in?
Right,
where
right.
he packages all and makes it like a rhetorical question. So I kind of dangled it that way, and then sure enough, then just kind of the universe does have a weird way of kind of effectuating.
It does. It's like it all started. I could see like the panel at South by Southwest. It all started with a reel on a podcast.
Well, and Andre was there because it was the 25th anniversary of him. I guess maybe it's a Sunshine Slam. I think he won both in 2001. And you guys had a reporter with you, right? Because you were wasn't there a third person I met when?
We always have. There's always a bunch of people around, but that was it was the 25-year anniversary of him winning Indian Wells. And he gave out the trophy. We sat with David Ellison, who's right in the thick of everything.
Yeah.
And we've met with him. So there's some interesting serendipity with him as well, which I'll circle back to. But yes, we also there was a reporter with us who's doing a feature on Andre. So just trying to spend some time in his world or our world as it goes through so many interesting intersections.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a very just a big figure in the world as he walks through life in such a normal way, but in such an abnormal way at the same time.
Yeah.
I like to make things about me, Matt. It helped my forehand. These guys are just cracking the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I take my forehand way too late. Andre's like a metronome, and that forehand, he hits it the same spot every time.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
the
good.
crazy part is his backhand's a way better shot. So think about that.
Which he talks about in the book.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to the topic of tennis movies and Andre,
But hold on one second. It is amazing how well he hits the ball still, though, isn't it?
Yeah, incredible.
I have to. If I'd be remiss if I didn't point that out, just out of because sometimes he forgets. I'm like, dude, you have to just. You've hit it so flush. Him as a hand-eye coordination athlete. It's no different than like watching Larry Bird shoot or Gretzky, hockey, or Barry Bonds at a baseball, or Michael Jordan take off from the free throw line, or Tiger Woods at a golf. There was just something magical there. It's just so special about his racket sport contact, and that's kind of what that parlays into pickleball, padel, whatever, just racket sports where things are at now and all the opportunities there, which has been a neat kind of progression for him. But he is, there's just something about watching him hit a tennis ball. It's just the pure contact off both sides is so special.
Set point for Agassi. Yes! That'll do it! He's pumped! What a match!
Yeah.
You see Barry Bonds take batting practice these days still, and he'll do that with the Giants, and it's just different.
And he hits the ball pretty flat too.
Sounds very similar.
Obviously, it's slightly different era.
Andre?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the game has evolved, and it both from stroke production, technique, products, technology, court surfaces, even just the athletes that are playing. So you see that progression. Back in the day, the sport was very linear. Then Andre was kind of the first to, and he tells this story better than anyone, and I get the first row view of being able to listen to him. But every kind of top player kind of changed the game a little bit. Mm-hmm. Andre was the first to be able to hurt people off both sides from any position, high, low, and in his pocket. But then technology, string, racket head speed, acceleration. There was a lot more margin built into the string and the rackets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guys used to show up with like 2 rackets, like Mackin or whatever. But then Andre, in the book, he talks about how important the stringing jobs were for him. Right? Was he one of the first guys that really brought a bunch of rackets and had to make sure that his strings were a certain way?
I think Lendl and Bosworth were kind of there, and then Pete was super meticulous about his tensions, but I think also because he strung it so tight. Andre was a little bit more granular with details like weight and balancing, and obviously, look, that's your instrument. That's a huge part of it, and you're dealing with such small margins. Everyone likes to talk about small margins in sports, but it is true. Yeah. So you do, and also in tennis, you control so little. So there's a little OCD-ness of it where if you can control something, you want to take as much ownership of it as you can.
Yeah.
But the game has continued to evolve. Then you have bigger, better athletes. Look at it like when Safin first beat Sampras at the Open, that was kind of the first anomaly of the big guy who could move well and could hurt you up both sides and off the first strike on the serve and the return. Right up to that point, you had smaller guys like Chang who could really hurt you with your speed, or bigger guys that could really hurt you with your power. Then you had kind of hybrids. Andre could hurt you off both sides. Pete was, what people don't understand about Sampras was he dominated people athletically and with his fast twitch and his explosiveness, obviously his serve and other stuff. But then you saw Safin, he was the 6'5", 6'6", great mover, hurt you off both sides. And then that's kind of the norm, right? Yeah. You have these high, it's no different than other sports. Like you didn't have 6'10" point guards. You didn't have Kevin Durant and Wembanyama and big guys that could handle the ball. It was much more positional, low post, John Stockton, traditional assists, Steve Nash.
Sure.
Now you have all these hybrids, and that's happened in all sports, and it's happened in tennis.
You were ahead of your time because how tall are you? 6'5"?
I was, but I wasn't. No, I was that. I was tall and slow and kind of powerful, but I did not. I had major liabilities across a lot of different sectors.
Was it Marat Safin?
Yeah.
Marat?
See, I know a little bit about tennis.
Yeah. I feel like you know the women's game a little better, man.
I do. I was you texted me the other night, and you were like, "Potapova's on. Turn it on right now," and that got me going. Who's that Sasquatch I saw at the Indian Wells?
I'm sorry, what?
The guy with the beard. He beat
Pelka?
Pelka. Yeah.
He's 7 feet basically. He says he's 6'11". Tennis is the only sport where you lie shorter.
He's an incredible athlete, and he's a great example. I mean, he is. And I had the pleasure of coaching and being good friends with John Isner for a long time, who I thought was a total unicorn. I think is probably incredibly underrated in how special of a talent he was. I mean, when you're tall, people they like to dismiss it. It's a little bit like what they do at Shaq, right? It's like, oh, he's just big and strong. Yeah. The amount of skill and footwork and nuance and touch and different dynamics. I mean, if John Isner's hands and holding a racket and the technical skill and especially in an individual sport, you can't be just a positional player or a role player. You have to be able to do it all and play to your strengths and hide your weaknesses. So when you think about Isner or Opelka or some of those guys, I mean, they're special talents.
Well, speaking of those two guys, we usually have a question that we come out to get warmed up, but you seem really warmed up already. But I want to do the question anyway. It's a fun question. We asked a guest a couple pods ago if he was in a hostage situation with his life on the line.
We asked this of Todd.
To Todd, and he had to pick one player to win, to save his life. Who did he pick? He went Nadal, you went Djokovic. I was crazy, I went Lendl. This week, I want to ask you something different. One player to serve to save your life. It has to be an ace. It's not just the hardest hit. There's pressure, millions watching at home. One serve, no rally. Clean ace. Who's hitting it for you? Who you picking? Isner.
I guessed that.
You get Isner. Who would you have?
How about this Borges guy? Did you see what he did in Barcelona? He hit an underhand serve to win the match, and it was an ace.
Really?
Everyone's doing Bublik.
I think it was cramping.
Yeah, he was cramping. Yeah. Bublik likes the underhand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to hit an ace. I mean, I was going to say Isner too, but maybe if not Isner, probably Pete. Probably Sampras.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I learned this in therapy that everyone's feelings deserve to be validated.
Sure.
Okay. We appreciate that. We have self-help moments here on this show, by the way, Justin.
I don't want to be dismissive. Everyone deserves to have their opinion. They're wrong.
What if I said, Justin, Goran Ivanisevic, for the only reason that the guy across from him is probably thinking he slept with my woman the night before?
I'm not going to get into that. Goran would be a great guess because he has one of the most natural, incredible, explosive lefty serves that can hit all spots. Those are all great. Sampras, Goran, Becker, Federer, Roddick, all those are agreed. They're all, any of them could hit a zillion aces in a row. Or Sam Querrey hit 9 aces once in a row or somewhere in Indy, I remember, against James Blake. But when you're talking about Isner, and I'm a big math guy, when you say one guy for your life, the difference is John was 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet, whatever it is. His technique was flawless, and his margins and his percentages. So at the end of the day, if you have one to save your life, the highest probability and the highest percentage of aces and service percentage. So Sampras was the clutchest server, probably the most beautiful. Forget just service motion. You could make an argument that Pete Sampras' service motion is the most flush, pure, biomechanically pure technical shot ever in anything in terms of the building of energy and flow and coil. It is as technically flawless as anything could be.
No beat that time.
Even up the second serve ace.
But he's still 6'1".
Okay.
So the margins are smaller.
Right.
And, if you saw later in his career, he's as clutch as he is. If you look at the history of his first serve percentage or his percentage of aces per serve, Isner's is just much higher, just based on the sheer math of 6'10", 6'11", perfect technique and a perfect serve. And, Sampras obviously had, as great as his serve was, he had a zillion other weapons too. I mean, so did John, but at a much more depreciated level.
Mm-hmm.
Individually, one shot specific, the serve, there's no one that's close to John Isner.
There it is. That is the world record for John Isner. More aces than anyone.
It's just not. And anyone, once again, anyone that argues that point they deserve to have their opinion. They're just wrong.
I love that. I love that. That's true.
We can write that in the movie. So it's like Die Hard when the guy's got to hit a serve.
Yeah,
Remember
exactly.
guys,
Kills his whole
Karlovic,
family.
like other guys like Karlovic. There's other huge serve bots, Opelka. They're all great
Serve bots,
servers.
I like that.
But none of them are as pure and clean with the leverage and the margin and the technique and the repeatability and the execution that Isner had.
I'm going to use that term too. You're nothing but a serve bot. Serve bots. Yeah, exactly.
This is great. We've basically turned into a tennis podcast.
We have,
which we love. So thank you.
I want to just your career real quick before we get to the tennis movies. I have a question. I was at the Lever Cup. Was that last year? Yeah. And it's interesting how some of these guys who are great playing singles just seem not to do well in the team environment. I mean, you were on 2 Davis Cups. Why are some guys like killers individually, but then when they get in that team environment, it doesn't translate? It's just a tourist question probably, but
I think it's a little layered and not as simple as that, not in due respect, but also tennis is unique is in that it is so individual, right? So like a lot of things, like you hear this from, it's about the matchup. Tennis is unique in the fact that it is so individual. It's very technical. It's very repetitive. So you have to be wired a certain way. And also, there's like for example, my son, he's a good athlete. He's a great kid, but he's much more of a social competitive athlete, right? Like he enjoys the team camaraderie and he enjoys having his teammates and picking them up and being picked up by them. Like there is a certain, adaptation that you build or lean into as a tennis player where you are the isolation and you have to, either you develop it, you get more comfortable with it, or you make it work for you. But then to kind of a couple times a year make it about the team. Some people really embrace it because they're craving it.
Yeah.
It's like the old adage, it's like as a parent, you want to not let your kids have sugar and then hope that they don't get conditioned on it versus rebel later. So it's like there's some people that just are wish they were team sport athletes and aren't. And I think you see that. It's like the Roddick's and the Marty Fishes. And but then you have other people like Pete, Sampras, who's just so really enjoyed the individual aspect of it. And it was a little bit more of a stretch. It didn't mean that he didn't enjoy it, or didn't seek value from it at times. It just wasn't his comfort zone. Or someone like McEnroe, who's just a natural camaraderie, would love kind of being in that dugout guy.
He loved Davis Cup and he played, he and Peter Fleming, right? How many things did they win together?
Yeah.
You don't see that.
I think it's more like that. I think it's, and then sometimes it's just situational. It's just curious, who do you think that revealed itself at the Lever Cup? Or you felt like that?
Who's the guy like? Was it Fritz?
Yeah.
Fritz or, I think more so than anything, a lot of times with Davis Cup or team tennis, you see a guy emerge that isn't maybe as successful on the tour. And you're like, holy shit, this guy's killing it in this environment.
Right. Yeah, you've seen that over the years with some breakthrough Davis Cup performances and stuff like, obscure countries, whether it's Belgium or someone or India, Leander Paes, plays with a lot of passion, something like that really embraces the crowd or gets the benefit of a very unique home environment because you don't really have that on the tour. So I think that, but Fritz played great there. He beat Alcaraz. So I don't think it's more about like what Alcaraz didn't do as much as situational, the conditions. I think I'm biased, but because I saw it, but Andre really, the players really gravitated and enjoyed Andre in that setting. And I think one of the reasons why that worked and I was optimistic about it being a good fit was that Andre had been away from the game. Yeah. So people, and because of this whole myth in his book about hating tennis and everyone letting a soundbite kind of be the low-hanging fruit that dictates the narrative, it's like, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's only part of it. It's more about Andre's conflict with tennis. Right. But I think, and I knew this from being around him so much, Andre's tennis brain is so advanced and still so plugged in. I think he benefited from low expectations of what people thought in terms of his engagement and his connectivity to it would be.
Yeah.
And like he has connectivity to Taylor Fritz. He used to play with his father, right? He really studied and really thought hard about how to connect with Taylor Fritz, who's got an interesting game and thought process. And obviously he knows Alcaraz, and he's been to a bunch of tournaments the past couple of years and really engaged a bunch. So I think that was, and he really enjoyed Demon Hour's feistiness. And so I think he really enjoyed the fact that, especially when a bunch of the players pulled out, that they just assumed that his team would be, kind of go quietly and lose. And he really embraced that, especially with Pat Rafter and then the format. So I think that's an example of how much he was able to get out of the team. Obviously, there's nothing ever that replaces the value of talent. I mean, they had the talent there, but coaches could
he really lifted the team up, and I thought he kind of ran circles around Yannick Noah, who I love, and
he really did. I love Yannick too, and I remember seeing him early in the days in the Tournament of Champions, and I love the father-son progressions, and I'm a basketball guy who happened to play tennis, so I came from a basketball family, so I love, and I've met Joachim, and I'm Knicks, Nets guy, East Coast guy, so I love that. But I mean, I gotta be brutally honest, he absolutely tortured. I mean the delta on that was significant.
It was a little Steve Kerr-like too.
Noah sold more records though.
That's true.
On laisse nos chaussures au placard et on prend la guitare, un CD de Marley.
That's true. That's cool. No one's questioning his coolness. But Steve Kerr was there. Steve Kerr's a tennis guy. I've spoken to him a bunch. I like. He's obviously had an incredible career, and he loves tennis and he appreciates it. I've seen him at some of the events, and I actually have a connection to the Golden State Warriors. My college roommate is Bob Myers.
Get out.
Oh
here.
wow.
Yeah. So I've always kind of rooted for them through that, and Jeff Austin, who manages Curry. Yeah. I found when my dad passed away, I was going through his stuff, and I saw a letter when Jeff Austin was the head of Octagon that he wrote to my father when Octagon was recruiting me when I was like 14 years old.
Okay.
So I sent that to him a while ago, and then obviously the Tracy Austin connection.
Sure.
So there's a lot of interconnectivity there with them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of ways we could go with this, but it seems like a good segue to Andre. How did you guys, in your career arc, his life and career arc, how did you guys hook up in terms of managing him and getting involved and partnering?
I don't remember the first time we ever met. I remember the first time as peers when we were on the tennis court and you beat me. I do remember that.
Out here today, temperatures in I would think the high 80s, Leaf, and we'll see how both players handle it.
You stayed with me in my place in Palisades, Brentwood area. And you were a guy I would fly in occasionally to get a good workout.
I'm his friend, and we just work together when I just think he's such a special guy, and he's been an unbelievable gift in my life in all ways, professionally and personally.
Do you hold it over him that you beat him once?
Gimelstob looking up now. This has got to be a big moment for him. He played right here at UCLA and has a big following in the Los Angeles area. Big serve down the middle. 123 miles per hour on the radar gun.
It's a fair question. I appreciate you noting that and not making me say, which is almost generally I do. But I'll go from the beginning. So when Andre was, like any person of my generation, so I kind of came up in that next generation after, so looking up to that golden era of Sampras, Agassi, Chang, Courier, Matt Washington, Todd Martin, and then obviously looking up to McEnroe, O'Connors, and all that group. And by the way, I do not think Lendo was a bad guess. I mean, that guy was super clutch. 8 straight U.S. Open finals. So I clocked that. I wanted to make sure I gave you some credit.
Perfect.
As long as you don't pick him at Wimbledon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He hated grass, but then he was always playing.
Well, he would have
golf.
been much better in grass. Today's grass, it's just a change. And
that is very true.
He had his chances. You gotta, but so obviously grew up idolizing Andre. He was such a unique star, and I got opportunities to practice with him a bunch when he was living in LA, and I used to train out here. I was about to go to UCLA or contemplating whether I was going to go to college. He was married to Brooke, and now tennis in LA is there's a great infrastructure and a lot of players, a lot of practice. But back then it wasn't. It was all Florida. It was all South Florida. So when Andre was living and he would come out here with Brooke, which it's well documented in the book and in the documentary that's coming out. He's not an LA guy, so he would look for practice, and I was like, I'll just say, I was just good enough to be good enough practice, but not good enough to be a threat where trade secrets were of concern.
Okay.
Plus, I was a young, hungry kid. I was like, it's like, jump, how high? Like I was like, come here to practice for this, like no problem. So I would practice with him when he'd be in town. Then he'd sometimes would fly me out to Las Vegas to practice with him. Now that's a whole show. Like, you want to go to Vegas, like go there with Andre and like walk through a casino with him back in the heydays. Like that's like,
that was
John Wayne to, Sinatra type stuff. Right. And so we kind of built it there, and then we continued it. And I think Andre appreciated my appreciation for him. Sure. And my, not great with boundaries, which I'm sure you guys have already seen. I just kind of, say what I think, do what I want. Yeah. And I think Andre appreciated my, for lack of a better word, now that everyone uses authenticity. Like I am what I am, and I was curious, and I worked hard, and I had some decent skills. So, and so I used to train with him. I used to go to, then when he lived in Northern Cal with Brad Gilbert, I used to train with him. So I used to train with him a lot at tournaments. If you needed someone who played my style, like I was just like a call to the bullpen. I was always on call. Right. And uniquely, and this is where stories. It's sometimes the truth is actually even more incredible when you break it down and we reverse engineer it. I turned pro. I was a very good junior. I should have cut my losses and retired then, but I was a very good amateur. And then when they had the pro tournament at UCLA, one of my first tournaments, I got a wild card. Okay. And I was coming off a good short career at UCLA. Turned pro early. I was a lot of hype. I was a junior national champion, big Nike contract. And I was practicing with Andre before the LA tournament, which he would play a lot. But at that point, Andre was starting to spiral. Like it was like it was teetering. He wasn't completely spiraling, but it was spiral adjacent. And we were practicing at a local house back in the day. It wasn't like today with every single thing is like immediate. And we had a break. We were playing our practice set. And I remember Brad called from a house phone to get the draw. Okay. And we were sitting down, and Brad just kind of looked, and he's like, "You guys aren't going to believe this." And he's like, now once again, this is what I remember from the story, right? I understood. We've learned that
from this episode of Entourage,
things conflate, but this is how I remember it, and I have a pretty darn good memory. Brad looks and he goes, "You guys play each other in the first round." And we're in the middle of a practice set. Yeah. And I could see, and me just being, I was 19 at the time. I was like, my first reaction was just like, that's amazing. Like, I was so excited. And but it wasn't for the reasons, it wasn't like I thought I had a good draw. I was like, the only thing I was thinking was night match, Andre, girls, the significance of the excitement of winning was never contemplated.
You get to play your idol.
Yeah, nothing to do with winning. Yeah. It had everything to do with this. This is like a call up to the major leagues right away. Right on the top court. But Andre, in that stage, especially, Andre's a very sensitive person, and I think in that moment where the intersection of his sensitivity or whatever he was interpreting or whatever he was dealing with, once again, armchair quarterback therapist, was like, oh wait, he thinks this is a good draw. Like he's not upset about playing me, and it was a bit of a kerfuffle, and he ended practice and we were done. And a couple of nights later we played, and I remember this I know for sure. You could roll back the tapes. I still remember the place is packed. I elect to serve, which I usually did because at times I had a pretty good serve. Place is packed, and I go back to get my bearings. Adrenaline's a zillion miles an hour, and I go back to the back of the center court, and I turn around, and friggin' Johnny Carson is sitting in the front row, right middle, right behind. Yeah. And I'm like, that shit just got real. Yeah.
Sis boom ba. Sis boom ba. Describe the sound made when a sheep explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And first serve, boom, Andre, return winner, love 15. Second point, first serve, boom, love 30. Third point, first serve, boom, love 40. So 3 straight first serves, love 40. I'm like, fuck, like this is rough. Like
the Johnny Carson sighting didn't settle you down.
No, it didn't. But I got out of Dodge that first game and got my bearings. And Andre was kind of
You came back to win the game?
The crowd, I came back and held. Wow. The crowd was super into it for me because I was, I was like the young hopeful. I was all over the place and playing it up. And like I said, Andre was fragile at that point. And I threw the kitchen sink at him and probably, did everything possible to create as many distractions and
very Brad Gilbert like.
Very yes. It was very ugly, but I beat him 5-2, and it's funny when he wrote his book. I remember going through it, and because I do have like a elephant memory, he was so much about fact checking and the truth and the authenticity of it. And I'm like, Andre, that summer, just a great book, amazing, incredible. One note. That summer we talked about like spiraling, bottoming out, and basically checking out and taking the rest of the summer off, or taking true facts. Or that was a couple of weeks after that we played in LA and I beat you. Do we want to maybe revisit that? Maybe it's too late to edit all those in, but do you want to like a footnote? Like maybe it's like just as he's like, Justin, and that's where he told me, don't conflate truth and facts. Like I said, I took the rest of the summer off. Could you imagine how much I would have to taken off to lose to you in LA? Right. So it's like he's like, we're not editing all the books back. I'm like, okay.
But when the screenplay for Open comes out, you just have to, as a joke, slip that scene in.
Totally.
We can write it and just slip that in there.
But he did then. Sure enough, the next year, when he was trending back, we played in the semifinals and he kicked my ass. And then every time after that, he buried me pretty good. And then he beat me a couple times at the U.S. Open. One time he murdered me. One time I played probably one of the best matches I ever played to lose to him close enough. But, we always kind of kept in touch and had a good relationship. I was always, just in awe of him. And then I always used to go to Vegas and support his charity. And I just, it's impossible, and I don't worship false gods. I've been around a zillion people of all levels on the food chain and been on all levels of the food chain. He is just a special person. Once again, it doesn't mean he's perfect, doesn't mean he's not flawed. He's complicated, he's layered, he's damaged, but he is just at the core, just so special. And that's what comes across. He's not a good enough actor. No one's a good enough actor to hide to that degree, especially in today's day and age of also just intentionality. Once again, he is just so, for better or worse, it's not a matter of making mistakes or being perfect, is pureness of intention and kindness and connectivity. That's the part that I value the most. So
it all comes through in the book, by the way. I mean, that's why it's considered maybe, in some circles, I think the best sports autobiography ever, or at least one of them. Because it's called Open, but it's incredible how willing he is, considering he seems like a very private guy in many ways, right? And protecting his family, being married to another really famous person. But anyway, that book, and then just his relationship with his father. Anyway, it's going to make a great movie. But Andre hasn't always wanted it to be a movie, right?
Let's go through that process. So it's been quite a journey since the 17 years of the book, and also just for him personally. So then, segueing back, so I had done some things in post-career. Ironically, I actually retired way before him. Went into TV, went into talent representation. I was the head of the players, for lack of a better
the Players Council
Association board, and worked on that for 11 years. Then did TV, did broadcasting, did hosting, did production. Essentially got canceled. That's a whole nother show. That's more of a true crime podcast.
Spiral Adjacent. We're doing another show called Spiral Adjacent.
We'll have to get that's another, that'll take us down a different rabbit hole. But it is material in that I was running our family's financial services insurance business, and my son, I'm a single dad. My son Brandon is the everything to me. He started getting into baseball. this goes back into finding the right, kind of matchup for your kids. And I remembered Andre's kid really liked baseball, and Andre had lost touch a little bit. And Andre's father had recently passed. Part of the thing that kind of really led into my spiral was my father passing, who was a huge figure in my life. And so
we can both really,
it's a lot. It's a lot of things to unpack and to actually reconcile how and why and really be curious about doing that. And Andre and I spend a lot of our time going through that stuff. So I just called Andre out of the blue and was just like, hey, look, I really want to try and do right by understanding this. I mean, I played Little League baseball and stuff, but the youth baseball thing, even though Jaden at that point was pitching at USC. So Andre's like, hey, why don't you Jaden's actually pitching today. Why don't you just come on down? And baseball provides a big landscape to talk. And so Andre was there with Phil, who I'd known, his brother Philly, who I'd known from the tour. And I just went there with Brandon and just sat there, watched Jaden pitch. Stephanie was there, and we just talked for a while. Yeah. And, after talking for a little bit, I turned to Andre Andre turned to me. Yeah. And because his father just passed, he said, hey, by the way, have you cried since your dad has passed away? Yeah. And at that point, it clicked. I realized, he thinks I had the same type of dynamic with my father that he had with his, because they might have had similar traits. Like my dad was viewed as a very aggressive, overbearing, overwhelming, controlling type. But at that point, I clocked Andre, I cry every day. And at that point, we're talking about completely different things of the same ilk, but completely different. And it kind of broke down the fact that the big difference was, as whatever my dad did or didn't do, I always felt protected and cared for. Didn't mean it wasn't damaged, didn't mean he didn't make mistakes, didn't mean it was the healthiest, but I knew that was my person. And he might have been doing it for whatever logic or rationale, but he was always there for me and protective of me, even in the broken logic. Andre, it's his story to tell. What I perceived was it was kind of the opposite of that. Right. He didn't feel the duty of care. And so that kind of led to this weekly baseball, Mensa group, therapy session.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So this went on for a while. And, Andre wasn't in the greatest place at that point from my interpretation. I wasn't. And this was just going on for a while, and always through the baseball in the families and kids, and just breaking things down. Then this was going on for a little bit, and then finally just been we talked about where he's at with his career and life and stuff, and he had some more space in his life than he had. People don't understand this about Andre. So everyone thinks about his foundation and his school in Vegas, but after that, he built a whole impact fund. So as opposed to raising $180 million for one school, he raised over $1 billion to build almost 130 schools through an impact fund. So that, he went kind of more into the private sector of that. And then obviously his kids grew up and he wanted to be present with that. So that kind of pulled him away from the public life. So, but I always knew what he meant to people. And I knew I wasn't, as I really respect our business that my family built, but it wasn't my sweet spot of what I was passionate about. So, we just started talking about where we'd like to go career-wise, or where I would like to go, or how we could help. So that kind of led to this, is there space for kind of a 2.0 in his, because the world had changed a lot at that point. We talked about it before we came on camera. So it used to be commerce led to content. Now as content leads to commerce, right? Everything starts from there. So when we first kind of started bouncing this around, I realized pretty soon, knowing Andre, that the book was going to always be the focus until that was resolved. Right. And because it means so much to people, and it's so unique. It's such a unicorn in that space, athlete, entertainer, celebrity space, in terms of truly finding that right tone. Yeah. And a lot of that credit goes to JR. JR Morgan is an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I've read The Tender Bar.
Yeah. And they found the right mix. It was so special. Yeah. But even now, days don't go by where people just purge how much it means to them. Mm-hmm. So I think that really meant a lot to Andre, not in terms of, ego or legacy, but just leave well enough alone. But if he reemerged into public life, especially the way the world was. At that point, it was even more so. You had the Beckham doc and, all these things.
Yeah.
I knew it. It would drive him. My interpretation was it would conflate every conversation because in some ways people would be trying to find an angle to talk about, what about the book? What about this? So I'm like, let's figure that out first, both from what you want and the business and the market or not, or leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
So before anyone even knew we worked together for probably like a year, we took meetings and really just gathered data on the industry and the business and how it evolved. Because when Andre first started, it was always about adapting the book to a screenplay and a movie, right? That's where it was 17 years ago. Now it's evolved to so many different machinations.
Yeah.
So at that point, Era just come out as well. So my first call was to David Ellison. The Ellisons have a history in tennis. Larry's a great champion of tennis in Indian Wells. So I reached out there. David was, had Skydance. They just come out with Air. So the first meeting was with David and Skydance just to get an understanding of what they would do. And then we kind of just circled back to a bunch of people that had reached out over the years and then other people. And then, they kind of put it out there and just basically Andre would come in, we'd watch Jaden play baseball, we'd talk, we'd have some meetings, play some pickleball. That was kind of also the inflection point of pickleball was starting.
Yeah.
And Andre was starting to enjoy it. I like to tell people, he's not doing stuff in pickleball because there were opportunities. He started enjoying pickleball, so he found opportunities that he enjoyed.
Yeah.
And also it helped him get into shape. Tennis, some unique way, kind of hurt his back and his hips more. Pickleball, for some reason, didn't.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It was all the stuff
it's
with
weird
his
about this.
back.
For pickleball, it does for me.
Yeah.
But once again, it's about it doesn't. So it gave him kind of a cheat code to work out and get in shape, which made him positive momentum, made him feel better. And so we just kind of did this. It was just kind of the storm of pickleball, Jaden's baseball, therapy with each other, and then gathering data on the industry. And documentary, feature, production company, director, package it, bifurcate, scripted, unscripted. How do you, and when you learn and you spend more time with Andre, he's so, if something matters to him, he will take great pride in it and he will be granular. He will not be frivolous with saying something matters to him and then being, assuming it or taking liberties with it. If it matters to him, he's going to really put in the work. So we really went through the whole gamut of every possible machination of where this could go. And then it led us to, one decision, or him.
Which is the docuseries on Apple TV, right?
Yeah, so it led to this interesting evening at the Peninsula Hotel.
I like when stories start, though.
Yeah, no, you do. You very much so. Yeah.
I saw how it's so funny because you see these huge global stars, and like I said, I am a single dad, and I still saw it in real time. Like Jaden and Jazz are the sweetest kids, which is actually probably the greatest credit to Andre and Stephanie. But he still, at that point, was still a 21-year-old stud pitcher at USC, and Andre's trying to grab time with him, and comes over for dinner, drink, and he's out to go see his friends, and I could see Andre just being a tick deflated because he wants more time with his son, and I'm foreshadowing where this is going to be. I'm going to blink, and this is going to be me and Brandon, right? So I kind of see it. And we'd gone on for over a year, and we'd met with everyone. I mean, you name someone in the industry, from everyone, the most impressive people. And it was, I'm a kid in a candy store, meeting with Ron Howard and Brad Pitt and Peter Berg and all these people, right? And hearing the stories with Brad Pitt about how went from the script to Moneyball to Effectuation and all these incredible data points, and right from the source.
A book, by the way, that Michael Lewis thought was unadaptable.
We need 38 home runs, 120 RBIs, and 47 doubles to replace.
The problem we're trying to solve is that there are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us.
Which is not the case with Open. Open already has a great narrative through line.
And according to Brad, I call him Brad. He's right before shooting, he thought the script was still not in the type of shape that it needed to be in from what he told me. So we're at the Peninsula, Jaden leaves, Andre's a little deflated, ordered in the next round. And finally I realized this was my moment. I was like, we'd already kind of broken down. I mean, Andre's also very really impressive about clarity. Like, let's be honest about what are the priorities, and then stick to those. Yeah. You know, it's like I like to say when people say it's not about the money, they know it is about the money, right?
Sure.
I say all things being equal, more is better than less.
Yeah, right.
Or in tennis, we go through tennis politics, and everyone's like, I just want what's best for the game. That's when you know 100% that person does not want what's best for the game. They want what's best for them.
Right.
It's like we're always about let's be honest with what it is.
It's like when someone says like, "Oh, that's really interesting," you fucking hate it. That's right. That's what that means.
Double
or in all due
respect.
Yeah. The next thing is they're going to be the most disrespectful thing said that night.
Exactly.
We'll always be leery about the person that says, "To be honest, like,
right.
fuck, were you doing before that?" Right? It's like, oh, now I will. I'll trust you.
Right.
So this was like Andre had clearly determined that the only thing that was worth it to him to re-engage in public life was to be impactful and to have another opportunity to impact people through his story. Not that he's so special, which he is, but that through the course of events, of success, failures, trials, tribulations, dynamics, he has this platform, and can people benefit from it, from the story. So if that's here, so at that moment I was like, I probably had just, half a drink enough to get my liquid courage going. And I was like, hey, Andre, oh no, sorry, Jaden hadn't left yet. He was about to leave. And I go, hey, Jaden, once again, summoning my entourage, scene. Hey, Jaden, just out of curiosity, go around and everyone just, kisses your father's ass about how great his book is and how much it means to him. I mean, stud 21-year-old pitcher at USC. You got a locker room full of athletes. I mean, gosh, you must get questions. People must be so engaged about how amazing your father's book is. Yeah. And unfortunately, I spend way too much time with lawyers. So I know you don't ask questions you don't know the answers to. So I knew this answer already. Yeah. And Jaden is the sweetest boy. And I've known him since he was born. Yeah. He's kind of sheepishly looks down. He's like, I'm like, what, Jaden? What, they don't like it? He's like, I haven't read it. And I'm like, you haven't read it or they haven't read it? I was like, neither. No, none of us have read it. I was like, oh, what about your sister? Yeah. A different, sorry, wrong demographic. What about your 21-year-old sister? Yeah. No, she hasn't read it either.
Interesting.
So it's like, okay, guys, I'm leaving. He leaves. And Andre just takes a sip of his drink and looks at me and goes, I know what you did there. I was like, yeah, I'm the least passive-aggressive person on the planet. Like, I'm the most obvious. I'm like the most obvious person. You're right. Exactly. That's why I did it. I knew you would know. Yeah. He's like, you say you want impact. I said, we could do this. I could, dude. I love our days together, our nights, talking, drinking. I could do this in eternity. But let's just be honest with what's going on here. It's a circular. We have all the data we need now. Yeah. We know everything we might be wrong. We might not get it right. It might be a mistake, all those things, but there's no new data that we're going to get. Yeah. I said, if you just heard it. I could book you corporate gigs for the next 20 years and everyone's going to tell you how great you are and how impactful your book is. But most of them are going to be rich white corporate guys. Yeah. You have a lot of outliers and you will, but it's like the home shopping network. Your demographic is just dissipating. Right. It's like, if you want to be impactful, you got to impact a new generation, and you can do it. Like, it's you're all the things that people have been saying are what needed: authentic and cool and retro.
And he
your
spent
story.
his whole life doing it, building all these schools, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
education. So he says. So it's like he takes a drink and it's like, we leave that night, and I know his process. Like 10 minutes later, my phone rings. He goes, "Go work the deal. Go ahead, take care of it." And at that point, it was like typical Andre. It was 100%. Once he made that call, it was like, we're in. Find the best people. Do the best we can. Accept the consequences but like you surround yourself with the best people, and you go for it. And that's what we've done. And hopefully, it's special. We did a deal with Apple TV. We think they're going to be excellent partners. Chris Smith is the director, who's got an excellent pedigree. We've put a lot of effort into it. Andre has emptied the bucket in terms of, there's no way that anyone has ever given more in terms of their commitment, their time, their energy, their soul, their desire to try and, be authentically, communicate the journey. Yeah. And hopefully it'll be special. I mean, but the content is so fractured now. Hopefully it resonates and people will see it.
Yeah, I think people, first off, I want to say that's so cool how you and Andre reconnected just on a human level. And I think a lot of times people today,
baseball's good that way because it's a baseball,
right.
the fathers and sons, right? And you guys connected over your fathers and your sons, and
I mean,
we're
it's just
big baseball guys.
Yeah, it's like every time people today are trying to find that angle, and you just connected because you're talking about your dads and that humanity of it all. I think what's great about the Andre thing that connects with me personally is just like the comeback story, and it's not really about the winning. And I think that has that arc that everyone can relate to. But something you said, I think it's this story like today, especially is more modern than ever with like the whole brand and the identity. And like today it's all like social media. And like back then it was like the rebel thing. And it was like this manufactured thing. And today I feel like everybody 24/7 is trying to create this brand, but it's not real. Like everything he did was real. He was kind of before his time, that push.
Well, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what now I'd like to say. All the things that people are saying are so important.
Yeah.
He was that. He was authentic. And by the way, even the image part wasn't manufactured. That was his rebellion, his uniqueness, it wasn't like he was
Image is everything. Wasn't that the tagline?
Yeah.
But then he
Which is
rejected it
ridiculous
all.
because, by the way, he has more substance than anyone.
That's
right?
the interesting progression where it started as image and everything and then ended as substance. But like I said, even when it was that, it wasn't manufactured. He was trying to lash out or find himself or rebel, whether it's the hair or the clothes or the cars. So even that was authentic. That's the thing about today's day and age. It doesn't have to be, that's the beauty of it. There's enough space. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just get to lean into what you actually are and don't try and pretend you're something that you aren't. So he does have that credibility or that, in the marketplace for that. Right. Like I said, I knew, I've been around the world. I knew what he meant to people and why he meant it. And he's a unique intersection of, you have some people that are marketable, but they didn't achieve. You have some people that achieve, but they don't have the story. You have some people that have the story, but they don't have the charisma. They have support. Like he has all of it and it's unique.
Right.
So when do we get to see it? When does it come out? And why did you choose to do the docuseries as opposed to the, doing it as a kind of a narrative?
Well, a lot of it was
fiction.
Nonfiction. Yeah. Scripted versus not scripted.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of it is what I clocked when I watched y'all's clip, which is a couple things. From what we discerned was first of all, at that point, documentaries were kind of all the rave, right? Sure. They were getting super popular. You had the Beckham boomerang effect and all that. But it gives you a bigger canvas.
Yeah.
And, the uniqueness about Andre's book was that the special sauce that they found there, now that we deconstructed, was they told it in real time through the first person, which kind of changed the way he was able to lean into certain issues and the way I think people were able to connect with it. That's my interpretation. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, you guys know this better than I do, from what I discerned, a feature, you're going to have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul somewhere. You're going to have to cut something. There's too many arcs in Andre's story. Yeah. You're going to have to either have to be about the comeback or the love story or the relationship with his father or you're either going to have to do a bunch of things a little bit, but you're going to have to cut a bunch out to make it into that 90 minutes to 100.
Yeah.
So the market was there. The documentary gives an opportunity to have a bigger landscape in a different way. Mm-hmm. And if done right, not only shouldn't cannibalize the feature or the IP for Open, but should enhance it.
Yeah,
no, it absolutely should.
Yeah. It should. That's
because what it does is it brings it to a current audience, right? And then you're also wondering, you're just in your brain, you're like, who would play Agassi in the movie, right? And all the things that you start thinking about, and how does this turn into,
Well, I'd love your opinion on that, but just so when Andre greenlit, the concept was documentary, bifurcate scripted and unscripted. Maybe there's a project there after, depending on how he enjoys this process.
Yeah.
Completely different structure, completely different data points, completely different process. Yeah. But we could understand this one a little bit more, less people involved,
Sure.
Much more about him than you're dealing with scripts and Hollywood and actors. Yeah. But it goes back to the point that I saw with you guys. It's one of the really intimidating and challenging things is, and also we don't pretend we know what we don't know. We don't know that world. I love movies. I love sports movies. I've probably seen every single one of them. Yeah. But that is the reality. If you look at tennis moves or moves that have had tennis, obviously it has to be very story driven and that's why, King Richard was successful. But also King Richard, they cut when she turned pro. So they were able to get good juniors that looked enough like Venus Serena. That looked good.
There wasn't that much tennis.
Exactly. It was exactly. And, you don't really, even challengers, and I'll probably can't get. I mean, I probably can't get canceled twice, but I mean, hey, take your best shot. But I mean, like challengers, like for example, like in all due respect to challengers and Zendaya, like all that did is show us is like if you get a star and great marketing, you can be successful considered in Hollywood because that tennis was appalling. The concept of it was appalling. The effectuation of it was appalling. It's everything we wouldn't want it to be. It was
tennis as a TikTok
it's
reel,
hokey.
basically.
But people loved it and brought that in,
which is great.
Right,
Once
yeah,
again,
right.
I love that. I love that tennis when it cuts across pop culture and gets bigger than just outside. One of my biggest disappointments with tennis is that it stays too in its box. Like I believe tennis is the toughest sport in the world. I think it should be a zillion times bigger. I see the appeal internationally. So I want that. I'm glad challengers did well, whatever that's considered. So if then do it, if it could be done better and have a star. So I don't know. So we endeavored on this process where we did a deal with Amazon and Julie Plec is the writer and Guyman Cassidy is the producer. He did Game of Thrones.
I know.
I
got a piece of mail from Guyman Cassidy this weekend.
Yeah,
I live in his old house.
Okay.
And
he did Stick.
And I was in Measurement 360 for a long time, so I know Guyman.
So he did Stick. Yeah. So I'm like, let's try and do it the right way or better if it's possible. So we're working on that project. That's fictional.
So what's it about?
It's about like Academy life. It's about so
it's like a Bolletary, IMG kind of whatever.
It's an amalgamation, whether it's a combination, whether it's Rick Macy, Bolletary, throw in some Robert Lansdorp, throw in some Topman, all of it. Saddlebrook, like it's an amalgamation of it, but it's modern day. Friday Night Lights meets Dawson's Creek meets it's going to be
Julie
young,
good for that,
young athletes in a lot of unique formula, unique period of time with intersection of sport and social and so forth.
It sounds like you guys are, as a team, as a unit, as a production company, are kind of like slowly scaling to the film. The way it sounds like, it's like you're doing the doc. It's almost like your Challenger tour. And then, okay, now we're going to do a TV show. We're going to take another step. And then after that,
like a grand slam.
after we do that, then open maybe as a feature. Feels like
I think you're giving us way too much credit. I think we're much more of like, see ball, hit ball. Like there is a formulation to it, but it's more about where's the the opportunities lie, and also what we can understand.
Well, Rally sounds a little bit, take this how you will, a little bit like Challengers, the TV series, which is smart. Right? There's a total market for that. You can do that. The problem is Andre's thing is so emotionally resonant. It has to feel real. You have to be inside of it in a way that you're not going to be with Challengers, right? So
and that's why I'm very, very conscious about what I said. I have no arrogance or ego about getting any of this right or wrong. Like the winners of the wars will write the history books and reverse engineer it. And I'm sure if anything doesn't work out, it'll be my fault, and everything does, it'll be someone else, which is totally fine. I'm fine with that. My blessing is being able to get in this world and this opportunity with Andre. Truly, that relationship is the gift beyond any of it. Yeah. And if none of it works, the time that we spent and the commitment that we had and the lessons we learned will be worth it times a zillion X. Yeah. And no one else's metrics of success will affect us. Doesn't mean we'd love it to be a huge commercial success and people to love it. That'd be great. But I'd be remiss if I said we're still not that much closer to what the secret sauce of the feature or series. And I'd be curious y'all's opinion, because a lot of execs have now said, they think the way the world keeps shifting, that scripted series is something that they think is a better fit. We don't know. I'll just tell you that when we endeavor in understanding it, we're going to throw everything against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
You say understanding it from how you, just from a story sort of structure, how you would build this thing as a movie?
No, all of it. I think we will have to understand all of like the there's there of what it will entail. What's the process? Who are you entrusting? That's why the doc was it was a big hump to get over, but it was a smaller group of people that we had to really rely on, right? It was Apple's a great platform. We get support from them on multiple fronts. The director, Chris, and his sister, the production company, his team in place, and obviously everything Andre, and then
you already have all the footage too. You just go back to his old matches, right?
Well, it's not that. I wish you should wait till you see it, and then there's a lot of stuff that finding that stuff and unique stuff has been I call it like a treasure hunt and a scavenger hunt in a Cracker Jack box it's because it's not like it's not like now, like it's like everyone has an iPhone. I'm looking for VHSs of someone from a practice court at the US Open back in the day. It's not like now where every camera catches every single thing. Obviously Andre's matches, but we want the unique stuff. Everyone knows the matches. We want the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I think I would love to see Open as a film. Just thinking about it right now is just because it just feels like it needs that gravity. And I think it's really cool that you're doing the documentary first. And I think that will become more clear once people watch it. People are going to see it and start seeing the film, because I just think it's more relatable than ever. I mean, you got the Rocky mentality in there, but it also can feel like The Social Network as well. And it's just so relatable, that comeback arc. I just feel like it deserves, the red carpet with 20th century, with those drums coming in, with the right director. Maybe you get Bennett Miller. But if you do a series, then all of a sudden I'm thinking worst case scenario, it's like Love Story, and it's this weird version where you're like, oh, I'm 8 episodes in and I'm going from the Cincinnati Open through the fall, through this, all this stuff. Let's just see the film.
How do you get to how do you either cut around the tennis or make the tennis look believable in a way? Because look, Andre's story isn't about tennis, but tennis does play a big role in the navigation of it.
I mean, the truth of it is, the world and technology has changed a lot since the book came out, right? And Challengers did a lot of CGI. We've got AI. They probably made a choice to make it look like a video game, right? Because that's their audience. I would imagine that the world may intersect. The timing actually might be right as the technology continues to evolve. To me, at the end of the day, it's about the story, right? Like the reason why baseball movies have worked so well is because baseball has leaned into when I was read Open, I thought of Field of Dreams, right? I thought about the emotional element that you can get in a baseball movie, right? Because you said baseball has space for talking and time. Also, we all watch baseball. We all think, hey, I could play baseball. That's one reason why, because it's just a guy throwing a ball and a guy hitting a ball. It's not tennis. But I do think that Andre's thing, it's a story about a guy and his father and a love story and all these things, and it just happens to be in the world of tennis. So I don't know if the tennis is that important. I think you can do a little version of what they did with King Richard, where you don't have to see that much of the tennis.
I 100% agree with you. It is, but the unique part of Andre's story is it does tick all the boxes, right? It has the comeback. It has the love story. It has the father-son dynamics. It has the
the opening quote, the Van Gogh quote, right? I mean, that's the movie, right? It's this love. He basically was saved by love. I mean, everybody, that's our goal. That's our hope, right? And that's what a movie is too, because you walk away saying that's what you want. If your audience feels that at the end of the movie, you've succeeded. It's a date movie too.
It's inspirational. It's aspirational. And as I get older, I like films where you have second, third, fourth chances, where you blew your first shot and you don't feel like you deserve your second shot, but you try anyway. And it's got all of that in that, and that gives you goosebumps. Whether you've dealt with sobriety or whatever you've dealt with, where you got to pick yourself off the mat, I think is really inspiring about that.
I mean, you guys have probably done this too. I mean, part of Matt and I, been in the industry a long time. Part of what you end up doing is you go look at other movies that are kind of like yours, right? And you just try to figure out comps, and you say, okay, well, what's the closest, And when I say,
what do you think is?
Well, so what came to my mind, and have you seen For the Love of the Game?
You just throw whatever you got, whatever's left. The boys are all here for you. We'll back you up. We'll be there. Because, Billy, we don't stink right now.
Of course. We think we cleared the mechanism. Yeah. I love that. I'm telling you, I know every sports movie. I mean,
for Love of the Game.
Kelly Preston cuts his finger. I cut my finger when I was young. I have a scar all the way through here. Yeah. I mean, writing on the ball, then the symmetry of the kid coming up, and, his buddy, and moving and getting traded. And I know it well.
But that, to me, you could adapt Open in a very similar
Am I the catcher?
You're John C. Reilly. I was just going to say, you are the John C. Reilly.
I'm like the,
absolutely.
But
you know what you said?
Only good, just punch and Judy hitter, just kind of hanging around just to catch the one, the one favorite pitcher.
You got to find you were talking about how would you shoot tennis differently. That just made me think really quickly. I don't know if you saw that Showtime film, or excuse me, that show Showtime about the Lakers in the 80s.
Of course.
And those basketball scenes were so great, and they did a whole behind the scenes on it where they were putting camera guys in wheelchairs, and they were putting them on rollerblades, and they were on the court with the cameras, moving in a way that had never been done to shoot basketball. I think there's a way to show tennis in a different way.
When Kevin Costner rears back, he's like, this one's going to hurt a little bit. We all know that feeling, like this one's going to hurt.
And I think if you end up doing it, I don't think you cast a star. I mean, who are you going to get, I was trying to think about this. Shai had already done, John McEnroe, but like Shai's lived a life that seems a little bit similar. Zac Efron, I don't know. But who do you get? I think you get an up-and-comer that you don't know.
I mean, the McEnroe thing, the McEnroe board thing, that came from a documentary, right? They did Fire and Ice for HBO, and then they made it as a feature, right?
What do you guys think about, I've been reading about the way that they're developing the Lance Armstrong. It's not the same comp because obviously his book isn't worth anything because the IP for his book isn't worth anything as great as it was because it turned out to all be bullshit.
Be a hoax,
But, they obviously packaged a deal in Hollywood where they did assign a star and a producer and a writer and so forth. And like, what y'all's take on that?
I don't know if you need it for this.
You don't. I don't think you do. I think the story sells itself. I mean, you already have a star in Andre. I mean, it's not a manufactured world. It's based on reality. No, I think you're going to get your big names from the producer and the director and the writer involved.
I mean, you don't have to answer this question, and we want to let you go. But I mean, David Ellison now owns not just Skydance,
everything. Yeah.
And I'm sure
he actually owns
that right there. Yeah.
He owns that. I think he owns that thing on your wrist. And
right. I'm sure they've got some. I'm sure they've got some ideas about how.
I own this. This is one thing I own.
There you go. That's good. I feel like that's the scene in The Jerk, right? Remember when he's leaving and he's like,
cut to that.
I'm going to take this.
Great. That's a good movie.
That is a great movie. But and it's dog shithead. But I would think that people be pitching you things, about how they want to do it. Has that resonated? Like if somebody said like David Ellison, let's do it like this, and you're like, great, or has that still not quite happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's happening. It is. It's been happening. I mean, it's once again, you all know the industry way better than I do, and I don't pretend to, but there is an obvious progression, and now we met with everyone. Everyone pitched their ideas of the content, and now we just had the documentary, and now it's obvious that, and we have. So we have the documentary, you have the scripted fictional show, and now you have one big bucket sitting over here. So right, and that seems to be really between people believing it should be a series or a feature, and then there's subsets on how many different ways you can go about that. Right,
well, that's, the writer in me. That's first and foremost. I think you need the script. You got to find the right writer, and you got to adapt it in a way where you can say, hey, you may know the book, but read this.
Yeah.
And I think you've got, and maybe you guys literally do it on spec. Go find somebody would love, great writers would line up outside your fucking door, a mile long, but get the right person to adapt this thing. And then you've got script in hand.
Maybe we have.
Maybe we have.
You know.
And that's what I would do is because it's all there, but you've got to, but once they see the script and they're like, okay, now I get it. The written word is, whatever. Like, do we still care about it in Hollywood? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But I think with this one, because the original content was so well written and so well executed, you got to believe. Like I said, with Moneyball, I mean, I heard the same story that they didn't have a script at the end. There's Steve Zalian came in, I think, and fixed it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And but that was an unadaptable. Michael Lewis said it's an unadaptable movie. It had no narrative through line. They had to build it around the A's winning streak. Right. That's not what the book's about. It's not what Moneyball's about. This one, you just have to find this device and somebody who's really willing to get inside of it, right? Really willing to create this emotional piece so that when you hand it to people, it has the same reaction that people have when they're reading the book.
Well, that's what they did so well in the book. Like, and I like to tell people all the time, like, you'll be shocked. People are so committed to the book and so it's so visceral. I will tell you, there's a lot of times I've gotten into arguments with people being like, it's the book. It's so you have to understand it is JR's interpretation of Andre with his beautiful, poetic, Van Gogh paintbrush that you guys are absorbing. Like, once again, that goes back to the truth facts, discussion. They're not mutually exclusive, but that's what JR did. JR is a beautiful artist with the words that brought out the truth and the connectivity and the power of it. And once again, no different than with the documentary. I don't know that it'll have the same, it'll resonate, but like Andre's also commitment and willingness to be vulnerable and put himself out there and to go through the process and to lay himself bare. All those things are what kind of the perfect storm of what led to that. And, can you recreate that in a different form?
I mean, I think, we got to get you out of here, but I think the easiest thing would be to cast your part in it. Would be probably the easiest.
John C. Reilly,
maybe Will. I was gonna say Will Arnett.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Bradley Cooper if we want to be really generous.
I'll take generous. Let's
JJ, you got an idea who's going to play him in the movie?
We'll take generous.
Let's before we get you out of here quick. I want to
go back. I did ask a question I didn't answer. I kind of know, but I don't really know. I'm happy to come back when it does get released. Yeah. I don't know exactly when it's going to release. I'm optimistic of a certain time that resonates. Even though this isn't a tennis doc, we do want to pay homage and respect and appreciation to the tennis world and lean into it. So I'm hoping there could be some synergy somewhere. But you also have the Nadal doc that's coming out in May.
I was just reading about that
eventually. So I want to find its space and also. And just make sure that it's as good as it needs to be. So it's TBD, but it's close to being announced on when it'll premiere.
I love the Becker doc. That was great.
Did you?
You liked it? I did.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Becker's and Andres.
I thought he went to a place. They went there with it, which I thought was the most.
Did they?
Well, you know more than I do, but as someone on the outside looking in, I was like, oh, really? It was that bad?
Well, if you think they went there, then you're really gonna like Andres. I mean, he went there, and he did, but
yeah.
I struggled with that. I mean, I love and idolize Becker, appreciated him, and respect what he's been through and where he's come out of it. But did he ever? The lack of that's worth. Once again, I'm biased, and I probably I'm going to get into trouble. I
haven't seen it.
I should have just get out of Dodge, get in the car.
Yeah, publicist.
I will say, exactly. It's like if I had a publicist, which I know, I'd be like, you're good. Don't say it. Take the double. But it's like, did Becker ever really take ownership or responsibility for what led to him being in that position? I think that, once again, no judgment. Everyone has
But that's the interesting part, because if you're reading through the subtext of it all, you're seeing that too, and they make somebody four-dimensional. I want to do my rapid fire.
By the way, I love Boris. I'm so happy that he's back on his feet and rooting for him. Legend of the sport.
Okay. Yeah, I think we all are.
My alibi. That was my.
Yeah, there you go. That was good. Smart.
That was my insurance
won Wimbledon
policy.
when he was
That was my insurance
He won
policy.
Wimbledon when
Don't
he was
clip that part out.
17. That'll never happen
crazy.
again.
More people should
Yeah.
go to the net.
Yeah.
All right, rapid fire. Just humor me, Paul.
We gotta get him out of here.
Yeah, we got to get him out of here. Best crowd you ever played in front of? What tournament?
Best crowd. I didn't play in front of many. There was a Jewish community center once that really got behind me. No, probably. I mean, the night matches against Andre at UCLA. I played Andre in Labor Day weekend in the third round when he was a huge favorite. CBS, blimp in the sky.
Yeah.
I'm from the East Coast. U.S. Open was kind of how Center Court Wimbledon. I played Sampras. Those are such unique things. Obviously, Davis Cup is special. Played 2 away ties. Played against Federer in Switzerland. Those are probably, the Maccabee Games. That's really, the Calabasas Challenger. They all kind of conflate.
Best major as a player and as a fan.
Best major.
Yeah. Of the majors.
This is a tricky one, and don't want to talk around it. I do feel like they're all so unique, and everyone says that it's not a crutch; it's just true. I mean, for me, growing up on the East Coast and sneaking into the U.S. Open, and that's one of the reasons I play tennis. Like the U.S. Open is always special. It's one of the few tournaments my dad used to come to, and friends and family would get to watch me play. It's New York, and it's different. And it's night matches, and I played a disproportionate amount of big matches at the U.S. Open for my level. Wimbledon, you step on center court, it is different, and it's all that stuff that you're not supposed to care about it, but it is different, and it is. They know they're different, and they know they're special, and everyone should be the same, but they're not.
Right.
And it's just also the combination of the grass and the history and the center court. But Australia has done an amazing job creating a relaxed, fun atmosphere. So I want to give them their flowers.
Right.
And then Paris is the only one in the heart of a major city. And while I suck on clay, it's still in the middle of Paris, and it's artistic and it's beautiful.
It's one of your two majors.
Yeah, but like
I finally
You
went
did.
to, I finished my Grand Slam. I went to Paris last year for Roland Garros. I thought it was great because it's the most quaint of the ones, right? Like it's actually the other ones would feel very commercial, even Wimbledon now.
Yeah.
And if for some reason,
Sorry, what did you say, Wimbledon?
What's that?
What'd you say? What'd you call that tournament?
I said quaint.
No, the tournament. What'd you call it?
Oh, Roland Garros.
No, what?
Wimbledon with a D. Yeah.
I will get into a brawl. Or Wimbledon. The people that say Wimbledon, I can't talk to them.
Yeah, and they're most likely serve bots, those people too. Okay, I got two more. That I'm going to get you out here. You said something earlier which made me think, and I've always thought this.
Only one thing?
One thing. You saw Johnny Carson, okay? So I'm watching the NBA playoffs all the time, and you always hear about these players where they're like, oh, they went for 35 because those celebrities were sitting courtside and it inspired them. When you played and you saw some celebrities or some people you respected in the stands, did that help your game or hurt your game?
Oh, no, for sure. But once again, I have a small sample size because I was, a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like that was an anomaly for me. So, but I was also, it's probably why I didn't do better. I was way more conscious and way more capable of absorbing information when I should have been, fucking worrying about my first serve. So, but it does. Here's the other thing. We create and develop these adaptations of being, focused or quiet or locked in, but you are human and you're battling it. And it is an interesting, devil and, angel type thing. It's like, breathe, get your hydration in. Wow, this is really big. It's not that big. Don't pretend, realize, like, dumb it down, like simplify it, like focus on your, first serve, first target, like where it is. It's like there is that unique dynamic where it's like, wow, like if this means so much. If it meant less to me, I'd probably have a much better chance of accomplishing it.
Sure.
And I had was really unfortunate that I was conscious of that in real time. Yeah. It was a real conflict of interest.
Gotcha.
Just either like be too smart and don't play, or be dumber and just be better. Like it was just enough.
That feels like something Brad said. Like be dumber. We had Brad on the pod.
Well, Andre talked about in the book where his tennis players talk to themselves more than any other sport. They're out there by themselves. At least now the coaches can talk to them, which in your day they couldn't do either, right?
Last question. This is the hot take. Outside of Sinner or Alcaraz, if you had to pick one player, who wins a slam this year?
Shelton.
Okay. See, look at that. See? Shelton.
Okay.
All right.
That was a quick answer.
Yeah.
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 Big fan. I played against his father. His father's a great guy. Hoping that he plays the Laver Cup. When you think about a major, you got someone that could do something different and change the patterns, and he's got huge weapons. Also competitively, first of all, he can play on all surfaces, and competitively, he doesn't shy away from the big moment and actually seems to kind of embrace it and relish it. And, he's one of those freak athletes as well. So, and I just, love the kid. And I think he's got that unique kind of charisma and next gear.
Yeah.
But, it's brutal. I mean, this is the problem with tennis is like, and this is what people don't understand, unlike a team sport. And this is kind of the myth, and all due respect, Federer is the greatest, most perfect person on the planet, but like, that whole 54% Dartmouth, story is great, and people took it for what they wanted to. But 54% versus 46% of margin in tennis is an ocean. I mean, it's not. It seems small because casinos get built on percentages of difference. Tennis, it's like you lay it on top of each other. It's why Djokovic beat Monfils 19 times better than them, 19 times in a row. Like, would you think Djokovic is, a million times? I mean, exponentially compound 19 each time. It's if you're a little bit better than someone in everything.
Yeah,
hit the ball a little harder, take it a little earlier, move a little bit better, or a little bit more consistent. It's not like in baseball where a great team wins 100 games and loses 62. In tennis, if you're a little bit better than that person, you beat them 98% of the time.
Yeah.
Then a Grand Slam's best of the 5 sets.
Yeah.
So it's like the reason Alcaraz and Sinner, unless they get hurt, are going to keep repeating that is like the margins are too big into what's repeatable.
Yeah.
So like Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz and Zverev, Zverev was closer, but they're all great, but they all play the same brand. They're just a little bit better. Alcaraz is a little bit more explosive, has a little bit more firepower. Sinner's get you off the first strike. He's longer, he's repeatable, his technique, his ball striking. What are you going to do to change that math? A lot of times, it's not just like, you can't just pull the river card.
Yeah.
You can't just win a hand in blackjack.
Sure.
You have to mathematically grind it out and roll in multiple times. You gotta stay at that craps table over and over and over, and then deal with the physical, the mental, the technical, the tactical, and then get right up there and stare it right in the eye and not blink and be like, those last 5 hours don't matter unless I can keep it together these last 10 minutes. Can't call in Edwin Diaz or the kid Morris for the Padres.
Miller.
Miller. Can't
Jason
call
Miller.
those. If I could have called in Miller to close matches for me, I'd be flying
you
private
imagine?
back home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Don't say that.
as opposed to Spirit Air.
That's great. Justin, thanks for grinding it out and getting in the margins with us today.
That was
pod,
incredibly fun. And again, a little like the book, I feel like we were able to kind of go there in a way,
Yeah, this is very cool.
Yeah.
My lack of boundaries help that. Yeah,
it's beautiful. Well, you're a guy that feels things.
Well, thanks. And come back on when it all comes out.
I appreciate you saying that. That is true, and part of appreciating you or someone for their strengths and their flaws, and realizing how often they're intersecting.
Yeah, right.
And that's one of the things. Once again, not to get too bromancy here, but like when I was at my lowest, I mean, there's a few people that hung in there with me, but like family, of course, but not necessarily, of course, but. Like Andre was, from having known me, he was willing to see the possibility of what, I can be, also undeterred by what other people would assume and I had many conversations with Andre where it's like, look, dude, I don't want to mess up your stuff and momentum and people are going to take their shots at me and they're going to take shots at you because of me. And you have all this incredible stuff in front of you if you want to pursue it. And I'm not a Wizard of the Oz guy. I'm not a natural behind the scenes person. I'd much prefer to be, but I wanted him to have everything that he wanted from this, knowing how much he would put into it and also how tough it is to take time away from his family or to put himself back out there. Like, he's like, nope, anyone that's a problem with you, they have a problem with me. And if they, and we'll do it together or we won't do it at all. And that level of, loyalty and commitment and willing to see someone and willing to rehab and invest in someone where they're at their lowest is, you can't repay that. So everything I do or try to do is to try and be as pure and helpful to him and be everything that he deserves. And I think that's a big part of his story is the lack of duty of care with him. I mean, Andre gives a lot of trust to people and wants them to be what he deserves and deserves them to be. And that hasn't always been the case, in my opinion. I haven't been around him. But, so he's got some people that are amazing. And I think that's part of this documentary will come out as well. Like, I think one of the most underrated love stories in the book was his love story with his brother. I'm a middle boy. I have an older brother and a younger brother. So very rarely do you see an older brother truly take care of and sacrifice and do what Philly did for Andre. And then obviously you have other friends. And I mean, his relationship with Stephanie is the most beautiful thing. I mean, I was with him the other night, left his room went back to his room at the Hard Rock probably 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was a little bit like the For Love of the Game, John C. Reilly. Most of our nights end up like that, by the way, that scene, right? Where one of us is putting the other to bed. And like, Andre and I are like, let's go play a little bit more. And Stephanie's like, yeah, go play. And I'm like seriously, like no strings, no, that's what you guys want? You're happy? Like we have a flight in a couple hours? Like, I'm walking, I'm like, Andre, that's the most amazing of all the successes. Like that is the be at this stage of life at 55, Andre's 56 next week, to have that as your partner after 20-something years. And she's like, no, she truly, it wasn't get out of my room because I'm done with you guys. It wasn't go and I'm going to resent you later. It was like, no, that's what you truly want right now. Like, just make sure you're ready for the flight. And we're like, okay, bye. I'm like, oh my, that's the greatest win. So that's the greatest win, to have that in his life and to see him be loved for exactly who he is and cared for, and not only not judged but supported.
Well, that's gonna be the trick as you guys navigate. The trick is you guys navigate Hollywood, because
that's
Hollywood's filled with a lot of sharks, man. And I'm sure that you said
let them take their best shots.
That's
go ahead, take your best shot, because if you hurt him, you're gonna have to go right through me.
That's awesome, man.
Hey, man, he showed up for you. You showed up for him, and you showed up for us today. Justin, thanks for coming on, man.
Guys, you did a great job. I appreciate it. Hopefully come on again when the doc or the movie or whatever the progression is.
Perfect. Paul, I mean, what a great guest. Justin was incredible.
Incredible. He's a very human guy, which I like that. I was generous with his time and his his humanity. So thank you, Justin. That was really cool.
Yeah,
really
and
cool.
He doesn't pull any punches, man.
No. And we like our self-help corners, and I feel like we were willing to go there.
Yeah, man. I mean, those are the best people to talk to, best people to be around, and I think we did a great job putting ourselves in the mix to write Open, the screenplay. I don't know. I mean, it's a really weird way for us to do it. It's let's like have him on to do our podcast, and maybe we'll get a gig.
Right. Well, what other reasons a podcast exist?
Yeah.
A lot of reasons.
Making
the world better. Yeah. One podcast at a time. No, anyway, thank you, Justin. That was awesome. Yeah. And again, we're doing a little bit different one today because it went a bit long, but we felt that conversation warranted it. And come on back next episode to hear us being really silly about Bay Area sports teams.
I just want to say that, Open was the name of his book. If they ever did a movie about me, it would be called Closed. Closed for fucking business.
That's a great question. I don't know what this, Matt. I almost sold a book based on my life, and that was not what it was called. It was neither called Closed or Open.
What was it called?
Semi-open. No, it was, I think we went out, it was called Intentional Walk. Because it was about my it was my baseball book after my divorce.
Intentional Walk.
After my divorce, and it connected with after my father died, and after my divorce, I spent a summer going to baseball games and took a very intentional walk into trying to get over heartbreak and see what was on the other side of it. And
hey, Paul, as your good friend, I can think of 2 other titles right now better than that one. Yeah,
please do.
Balk. Even though that's been done, or Hit by Pitch. How about that? Right.
I did think about Hit by Bitch, actually.
Oh, Hit by Bitch.
Not to say that my first wife was...
No, we're not saying that. Yeah. That's just a good title. Yeah. For a book. Hit by Bitch.
That's the basketball sequel.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so scared, man. Like, listen to me, you little bitch. You either go out there and make that shot, or I'm going to shove your head so far up your fucking ass, you have to wear yourself as a hat.
And in the dugout, Doug Reamer giving his teammates some last-minute encouragement.
Exactly.
Anyway, now I'm feeling very vulnerable because I just talked about my narrative nonfiction memoir.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Folks,
not
thanks.
nearly as good as Open.
Folks, thanks for listening to us today. We really appreciate you coming on board with the Beat LA podcast. And we'll be back soon with another merry-go-round with a whole brand new guest. Right, Paul?
Absolutely, man.
Okay. Until then,
Beat LA.
Beat LA.